Hello everyone, welcome to my channel 2-Minute Lessons. Hope you all had an enjoyable and safe Diwali. Shall we get started with the lesson number 3. Living organisms need to survive, grow and continue their race. I spoke about nutrition and respiration in my lessons 1 and 2. Think about this. How do plants, animals, humans and microorganisms multiply? Do you know how important this process is and what is it called? Yes, this process is reproduction. Let's learn the basics of this very important life process. What is reproduction? How do plants and animals reproduce? Why do you think it is important to increase the population in a given species? Okay, I will try to explain all of this. Reproduction is actually making a copy, a likeness, and making sure that the species continues to exist. At its lowest level, reproduction was and is chemical replication. As evolution progressed, single-cell replication took place and successively higher levels of complexity. It was absolutely essential that they have the ability to make copies of themselves. Here I have listed 4 important levels of reproduction. The first is molecular replication. What happens here is DNA, which is a very long molecule, and the characteristics of the organism inherent are largely stored in them as genetic information. They duplicate by separation and later exist independently. Cell division is the biological process during which a cell divides to form 2 or more daughter cells. The complete events are carried out in multiple steps. Binary fission. Single parent cell doubles its DNA, then divides into 2 cells. Usually it occurs in bacteria. In multiple fission, as the name indicates, the nucleus undergoes several mitotic divisions, producing a number of nuclei. Nuclei is plural of nucleus. After that, the cytoplasm separates and each nucleus is enclosed in its own membrane to form an individual cell. And the last level is life cycle reproduction, is a series of changes in the life of an organism that includes development and reproductive stage to produce new organisms. When we talk about reproduction in plants, there are 2 major forms of reproduction: asexual and sexual. In asexual reproduction, it requires only one parent. There are many types of asexual reproduction that occur naturally. 4 major types are budding, vegetative propagation, fragmentation, spore formation. What are these types? Budding. A new plant is developed from an outgrowth called bud. In potato, you will see small outgrowths from areas called eyes of the potato. New plant grows from these eyes. Vegetative propagation. New plants are produced from the vegetative parts of the plant. What are the vegetative parts? It can be the roots, it can be the stem, or it can be the leaves. Fragmentation. A new plant takes birth from a portion of the parent plant. This type of reproduction happens naturally when a small part of the plant falls off onto the soil and then begins to grow up into a new plant. And the 4th one is spore formation. Spores in the life cycle are formed by many plants and algae. It is an asexual reproductive body where spores germinate in favorable condition and give rise to new plants. There are also artificial methods of asexual reproduction. Plants are also propagated by man by several methods. The most common are cuttings. A new plant is grown by cutting a small portion of an existing or parent plant, which is a stem or a leaf with a bud. This section is then planted in soil and watered. A new plant can be seen sprouting after a few days. The second artificial method is layering. The part of the branch that is in contact with the soil develops roots and is detached from the parent plant. A new plant emerges from the buried branch in this way. And the third mode is grafting. Parts of two separate plants are connected together so that they develop as a single plant. Characteristics of both the plants are present in the fruit of this new plant. Did you ever wonder how flowers develop into fruits or how seeds are formed? What about the plants that do not have flowers? Well, they multiply or develop through a process called sexual reproduction. New plants are produced this way. This happens through the exchange of genetic material from two parents. New plants are produced in many ways like spore formation, pollination, or alternation of generations. What is alternation of generation? It describes a plant's life cycle as it alternates between a sexual phase and an asexual phase. Gametes are formed in the gametophyte generation and spores are formed in the sporophyte generation. Why this life process is important? Actually, reproduction ensures the continuity of species and keeps it from extinction. In evolution, it creates variations via genetic recombination. It helps to increase the number of species in the ecosystem. Significantly, animals depend on plants for their survival. That's all in this lesson. Revisit the lesson, make your notes, and I will talk about reproduction in animals in my next. Cheers and happy learning.